Good morning, and welcome to Miami Beach. I thought I'd take you there today because that's pretty much where I started a long time ago. I was born in Chicago, but it was so bitterly cold, my parents wanted to move to Miami Beach, Florida, which was fine with me. I like that. Why not? Tropical trade winds, warm ocean, white sand beaches, palm trees, plus a few retired organized crime guys. Hey, I'm not talking about them because I can't. I won't. But be that as it may, it is what it is. Forget about it. I ain't gonna talk about those guys. Did I meet any of them? Maybe. That's for me to know. Whatever the case, Miami Beach was a cool place to grow up. That's where my career sort of started, because my mother was an author, and they ran a picture of her in the local newspaper with my father and my sister. And an agent saw the picture and called my parents and wanted to know if I wanted to be an actor. So they asked me, and I said, nah, I'm not interested in that. Little to my knowledge, a few months would pass, and I thought, let me try this. So I auditioned for a couple of local community theater plays, and I ended up getting both of them. They both opened the same day, which was not good, so I had two scripts to learn. One opened in the afternoon, the other opened at night. So my mother drove me from one to the other one, and it was fun. I was sort of hooked. I loved doing it. So I took drama classes in junior high school and high school. And then I started thinking, where am I going to get training for this? The best place for me to go to learn this craft. So I asked the agent, I asked my drama teachers, and they all said two places: the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York and Pasadena Playhouse in Pasadena, California. So I auditioned for both, and I got accepted for both. But I decided on Pasadena because I was more interested in television and motion pictures than legitimate theater, and that was the hub of it all. So parents flew me out to California right after I got out of high school, and I started Pasadena Playhouse. It was a 3-year college of theater arts. It's still there, but it's only a theater now. It's legitimate theater, but back then it was a college. So I learned every aspect of theater you can think of, from fencing to dialects to dance, you name it. Actually, my fencing teacher was Errol Flynn's coach when he was fencing in his movies back in the old MGM days. It was pretty cool. The guy was in his 80s and still teaching fencing. It was fast. So I did a lot of plays there, a lot of small theater plays, and then my last year I was on the main stage in a play called Life of Father with Leanne Ames, Lorene Tuttle, and Ben Murphy. Little did I know an agent would be in the audience watching the show. So I'm down in my dressing room after the show, and there's a knock on my door, and a lady comes in and says, do you want to do this professionally? And I said, yes, I do. So she said, I'm an agent, I want to sign you. And I signed with her. So I was lucky. Every audition I went out on, I got, literally. Pretty much all small parts to start with. I worked with some legends. It was cool. I worked with Mae West, Farrah Fawcett, and Myra Breckinridge. Had a very small part in that. Tom Selleck was in it, too. Then I did Marcus Welby, The Flying Nun, a bunch of other stuff. All that's on IMDb. So if you go on there, you can see all the stuff I did in my career. So the most important part I think I did, the one that would bring most attention to me, was a movie of the week with Burt Reynolds called Run, Simon, Run. It was an Aaron Spelling production. I played Burt's brother. And teenage girls started writing to Tiger Beat magazine and saying, who's Michael Gray? Could you run some pictures of him? So they called me in for a photo session, and they ran a postage size, little tiny picture of me. And people started writing in, let's see more. So they started doing more and more shots, more photo sessions. I was in fold-out centerfolds and ended up on the cover. So I was being successful, but I wasn't doing a lot of work at the time. And then Warner Brothers was getting ready to cast a new series with Brian Keith and Shelley Fabre shooting in Hawaii called The Little People. So they saw my popularity through the magazines and called me and figured it might be a good option. So I auditioned for it, and they said, you got the part, and I flew to Hawaii. And we shot 26 episodes back then. That's what they did. Then we took a hiatus. Well, the hiatus was the last time I would do the show because they changed the format of the show after the first year, which I didn't know they were going to do. So all this easy acting work I was getting, everything I was getting, I lost one. My favorite, my first TV series. But I was still on the cover with Tiger Beat magazine and other magazines as well. Even in Germany, a magazine called Bravo had me on the cover. I was sharing covers with Bobby Sherman, David Cassidy, Donny Osmond, Michael Jackson. It was pretty cool. So now my first series was over, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do next. And then Brady Bunch came a-calling, and I did an episode of that. It was called Marcia Gets Creamed. I played Marie McCormick, Marcia's boyfriend named Jeff, and she hit me with whipped cream in the ice cream parlor. That one was pretty well known. It was fun doing that. So now what? My career was sort of staggering. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Maybe a stalemate, so whatever the case may be. Another call came in. This was for Shazam. And I went out to Filmation Studios in the Valley and auditioned and talked to those guys, and I got the part as Billy Batson on Shazam. Little did I know I'd be on Saturday morning TV, but it was cool. It was work. I didn't care. I had another part, and I was very happy. So the show ran 3 years, and then I guess pretty much from what I heard, they couldn't afford to do it anymore. They took it off the air. And during those 3 years, I was doing personal appearances every weekend. Back then it was car shows. And I worked with the guys from Welcome Back Kotter, Adam West, Burt Ward, Dick Clark, Farrah Fawcett, Lee Majors in different cities. That was fun. I got to meet the fans. So that's what I was doing now, personal appearances. The show was no longer on the air. Then the personal appearances dried up. And I kept continuing to do auditions, but what happened was no one would cast me. They said I was too identifiable as Billy Batson from Shazam. I auditioned for a part of a psychopathic killer in a night soap opera. I auditioned for a role where I beat up the star of the show, but I'm only 5'6", and the star was 6'3". They said that wouldn't work either. So my acting career seemed not what it was at the beginning. What I thought was going to be easy turned out to be a little difficult. So what's going to happen next? I didn't know. I sort of stopped auditioning and started thinking, what else can I get into? And that's where next week's video will go. What did I do after I stopped acting? So I'll talk about that then. I hope you guys enjoy these because I'm having fun doing it, and it's a way to stay in touch with everybody. So, like they said in the old serials in the movie theaters, tune in next week and see what's happening with me. Guys, have a good one. Hi, kids. Today's show was about Michael coming back into your lives. So the moral of today's show is, if you like what I'm doing, subscribe and share. That way I'll see that you like it, and I'll continue doing more. I'm going to try to stay a part of your lives every week. So thanks, and I'll see you next week. Bye.